mental clarity and focus was one of my biggest things that I had an issue with when I was vegan, and now it's like so effortless. So suddenly my diet was pretty carb heavy. I was introducing all these faux meat products that I don't know, God knows what, did to my body. And I continued with that for 14 years of my life, from about the time that I was 13 to 27. And no, I did not feel good for most of those years, if at all. But the really bad health side effects started, I would say, at about year 11. So I avoided the really bad ones for a long time, but I got ulcerative colitis in, I want to say 2017, and that was probably about the 10th or 11th year that I was vegan. I started having really bad pain after I would eat. I would have a low fever almost every day. I would get diarrhea after I would eat just about anything. And then the worst thing was having blood in my stool, which if you're familiar with colitis, then you know that that's like the biggest part of it, is that you go to the bathroom and there's a ton of blood in the toilet. Sorry to be frank and, graphic, but that's obviously not good. And if that starts happening to you, you're probably going to be very concerned, which I was. But having, the vegan mindset, I thought it would get better on its own. I thought my diet would heal my colitis. And I started looking around for all these herbs that would reduce inflammation and, heal my damaged tissue in my colon. Nothing ever worked. Essentially, in 2017, I was hospitalized twice because of my colitis. The doctors tried to put me on all this medication for ulcerative colitis, and I refused to take it, thank God. So I was looking for something else. I was looking for a concrete answer. I knew deep down, personally for me, I'm not trying to say this to anybody else who has colitis, I am only talking about myself, but I knew deep down that I never had these digestive issues as a kid. And I knew there was an answer out there for me that would heal me. And I didn't stop until I found it. So I was reading a book, and the author was sympathetic with vegans and vegetarians. He had been vegan, I believe, for a number of years, or at least vegetarian for a number of years, and had stopped because in the book he was talking about how collagen and cholesterol, the lack of them can be very negative for your brain and your tissues. He went over all that stuff briefly. It was a very small section in this book, so it was almost like a coincidental thing that it happened to be in there. I think I read it at the exact right time, like just as I was starting to question if my diet was really working for me. So I read it at the right time. And that kind of made the light bulb go off a little bit and made me consider the scariest thing that I could possibly consider at the time, because I genuinely thought I would be vegan for my whole life. So it was very scary for me to initially make that decision to stop and have just bone broth again. That's it, just bone broth. I didn't, go from being vegan to eating a steak. I eat steak now, but I didn't do that. So I decided to have bone broth again, and I just figured if nothing happens or if it affects my digestive system negatively, then I know it was the wrong thing to do. Then I know veganism really is supposed to work in some way for me. It's gonna work the best, I guess, and I've just been dealt this hand in life. That was my thinking, is that I would just settle on that if having bone broth didn't work. Luckily it did. I remember it, I can't remember specifically what happened when I first had it again, but it positively influenced my digestive system enough that I decided to have fish and eggs again. And again, I went into it with that same mentality of, if this is not gonna work, then I'll eat it and I'll get sick. Then I'll eat it and I will have stomach pain again and get colitis. The opposite happened. I was so shocked when I had salmon again. My first, I guess, the closest thing to meat that I had again after I had stopped being vegan for over a decade was salmon. And I was genuinely afraid that when I had that salmon, I was gonna get sick. nothing happened. When I had eggs again too, nothing happened. My body processed it as if I'd never stopped eating these things. So it also calls into question for me the assertion by, you know, people that I know that are vegan and people on the internet that are vegan that say like, oh, there was a piece of steak in my vegan burger or whatever, my vegan dish that I got at a restaurant and I got so sick. Like, really? Is it in your head? Maybe, just maybe. So it didn't affect me negatively at all. And with those positive health benefits that I was seeing, my digestive system started healing. I started to not have any blood anymore when I would go to the bathroom, you know, without getting into too graphic of detail. That was the biggest indicator for me that my digestive system was healing, that my colon was healing. I knew that I was doing something right. So obviously my logic was, well, let me include chicken and turkey again. So I did that a few months later. Let me include beef and lamb and other, you know, like ruminant meats like that again. And that was again, probably like a 2 months of time in between introducing chicken and turkey again and having beef again. So it's not like I just went gung-ho and had a bunch of animal products again to be like right away. I really tried to space it out to see how each thing would affect me, and I had nothing but positive benefits. So just to close this video, I realized I didn't really talk about what exactly changed throughout these past couple of months or since last June, and especially since I started including things like beef tallow, beef, anything in that realm. Those have made a huge difference in my health, my energy levels, my skin. So I'll just go over briefly the changes that I experienced from when I was vegan to now. First of all, my colitis, that was the biggest change that I experienced. I went from having really bad digestive issues when my colitis wasn't flaring up. I had really bad just irritable bowel syndrome or whatever, IBS. That has completely went away. I don't get any pain after I eat anymore. I don't really even have gas anymore with the way I've been eating. It's just been a complete 180. And the biggest thing that I still have experienced is diarrhea, but even that has been getting significantly better. So there's that. When I was vegan, I was also lethargic all the time. I would eat something and want to go to sleep right after, and that was almost every meal. Especially like breakfast was always the worst because I would get up for the day, eat my first meal, and want to go back to bed. Like, who wants to feel that way? So I always felt lethargic. Now, like today, I had an omelet with cheese and bacon for breakfast. I felt focused, I felt energized, I felt motivated to get everything done that I needed to do for the day after I ate that. So again, I would definitely say it's not just the animal products that are giving me this energy, but also the things that I'm not eating. So I'm not eating gluten, I'm not eating carbs, really, unless, you know, a few grams of carbs happen to be in the dairy that I eat. But I'm not eating that other stuff that also I feel like weighs you down and affects your digestive system negatively. So energy levels improved. My PMS, towards the end of veganism, I was getting such horrible cramps. I would be like almost bedridden. I would get like these stabbing, horrible pains whenever I would get my period. So, and I know some vegans have the issue of that they become, I think it's called amenorrhea. I'm not pronouncing that right. I know I'm not, but they stop having periods. That luckily wasn't happening to me. It had happened for small amounts of time throughout me being vegan, but again, like that wasn't an issue towards the end of my veganism. But my periods now are almost painless. Like, I swear, like, I feel like this is a miracle diet when I talk about it, and people probably don't believe me, but again, like, you don't have to. I'm the one experiencing these things, so it really only matters to me at the end of the day.